No, the state tells us the situation here is not dangerous. Have faith, comrades. The state tells us it wants to prevent a panic. Listen well. We seal off the city. No one leaves. And cut the phone lines. Contain the spread of misinformation. That is how we keep the people from undermining the fruits of their own labor.
Hi, everyone. Don't get confused. This isn't supposed to be about Chernobyl, but I actually do remember the media reports that came out when the Chernobyl accident happened. I was very young back then, but I do remember it. And there's a lot of similarities. Of course, there aren't many similarities between, Chernobyl and the coronavirus, not in and of itself, but of course there are a lot of similarities between the Soviet Union and China now. Because basically it's still the same system in China. So the way they're handling things is basically the same. So in that sense, you can kind of compare it, and maybe you yourself were able to discover some similarities just from that little scene from that great Chernobyl series. A lot of you American hipsters still have those illusions about socialism, and Bernie Sanders is selling them to you. I don't really want to get political, and I don't care about American politics. It's so, I couldn't care less. But, the point is, a lot of people who don't know anything about socialism, who've never lived under socialism, they still have that illusion. They think it's like power to the people, and it's this great society where everyone is free and everyone can do what he wants. And, the reality couldn't be more opposite, Socialism is, essentially it's a state-controlled economy, right? But a lot of people don't understand what that means in practice. If the state controls the economy, it actually means that the state has a lot of power. That's why a lot of media in the West, they call such countries they call the socialist countries authoritarian, or they even call it a dictatorship. Of course, that's not what those hipsters, that's not the way they imagine it, and that's not how Bernie Sanders describes it. But essentially, if you really put it into practice, that's what it is. You're giving the state, actually, in that case, the state will become, sooner or later, the Communist Party. So you're giving the Communist Party enormous power. You're basically giving them the power over every citizen. Unlimited power. There is no constraint in the power that the Communist Party has under socialism. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't want to hear about that. They still have, they want to hold on to their dream. But that's not what the reality is. It's just like people like playing pretend, But the reality is, it's a one-party dictatorship, and the Communist Party has absolute power, and of course, including over the media. And in a way, it was kind of nice, because if you look at, if I look at the media today, including, your typical American media corporation like CNN or whatever, the news is always so negative. It's, you have a nice day, you come home, you watch the news, and it's, this guy murdered someone, and scandal, and political intrigue, and it's it's always so negative. How do you people live like that? It was way nicer when Eastern Germany was still around. When you watched Eastern German news, there was never any negative news, except when they were reported about Western Germany. Then there was negative news. But when they reported about their own country, when they reported about Eastern Germany or the Soviet Union, it was always nice, positive news. There was never any negative news. And that of course it was, it was all bogus because, they just filtered out all the bad news. But in a way it was kind of nice. It was kind of uplifting. And that's still how the state-run media, and that is all media in China, operates to this day. And a lot of people in the West, they don't understand that, And a lot of media organizations in the West, they don't understand that either. So the very first news, and of course this was not by state-run media, this was by independent media in the West. The very first, and this was only, it was reported on a very small scale, and not many media outlets reported that. But the very first report about the coronavirus, and that was like back in December, that came out, and that came out in the West, and it only came out in the West because at that time, Chinese media weren't reporting on it at all. So the first media reports about it were actually about people being arrested for so-called spreading rumors. And as it later turned out, those people who were arrested for so-called spreading rumors were actually doctors, who discovered the coronavirus and wanted to warn people about it. And of course, the first thing that the Chinese government did was to arrest these people and to do their best to prevent at least the Chinese state-run media from reporting on that. So that was the first reaction, and I read about that back in December, and at that time, I wasn't too worried, because that kind of thing, happens all the time. It's just the way things are in a socialist country, even though people don't want to hear that, But that's just how it is, If there's something bad, they'll cover it up, and if you tell people about that bad thing, or if you tell people about the cover-up, they'll arrest you too. That's just how things are, and that's, if you live in a society like that, you kind of get used to it, it kind of becomes normal. So, so when I read about that, it wasn't anything special. Because as sad as it may sound, that's basically just business as usual in China. But the moment that Chinese state-run media started to, even acknowledge the existence of the coronavirus, which was more than a month later, and as we know now, at that time, it was basically already too late to do much about it. But only then did they start to even acknowledge it. And that's when I became concerned. And that's when I realized, okay, this is serious. I need to pay attention to this, and I better, practice good hygiene now, and, always disinfect my hands and so on. And at that time, the official death toll was only like, 5 or so, So a lot of media in the West didn't take it serious, and a lot of people were telling me, "Oh, it's nothing, 5 people, But they don't understand, It was 5 people back in December, in reality, and that's when they covered it up. So if it would really have been only 5 people, they wouldn't have reported on it at all. The only reason they report anything like that is only when they can no longer contain it and cover it up. Otherwise, they wouldn't report on it at all because, why why report on negative things? No one wants to hear that, or at least that's how their mind works. And the sad thing is that, well, I think most people in the West actually saw through that because, they also kind of start to understand, how it works in a socialist regime, and they start to realize that, whatever number China puts out, it's not reliable. The people realize that, but the Western media, not so much. And I think even until now, there are still many Western media outlets who just take whatever statistic China gives them at face value. And of course that's bad enough, but it gets worse because many, or basically all, or most Western media and companies rely on the Chinese regime for their data, and even for any information really, at least regarding the coronavirus. So when China says, hey, not to worry, everything is under control, they repeat that and tell people, hey, not to worry, everything is under control, this is just like the flu, nothing to worry about, you can still travel to China, you can do business, don't forget to do a lot of business with China, it's important to keep the economy going, because that's of course important. Well, yes, it's important to the Chinese government, but not actually a good idea if you want to stop the spreading of the virus. So not only are Western media basically repeating the Chinese government's propaganda regarding this, but they even went so far as to do the censoring for them as well. And actually YouTube is a great example, a great bad example. And of course, YouTube is gonna punish and demonetize and deplatform or whatever me endlessly for criticizing them. At this time, they don't even allow you to say anything bad about them. But I don't care, since they demonetized me a long time ago. Just basically for criticizing them. So I don't care anymore. So anyway, when the first viral videos about what's actually going on in Wuhan and how bad it really is came out, and it wasn't just me. A lot of people were spreading those videos, and I think that was important because that's some first-hand information, because you can't go by the official statistics, and at that time the official statistic was still like, oh, there's only like 5 people, at the beginning was only like 5 people are even infected, so it was very obvious that they were just downplaying the number a lot. So then you have, to contrast that, you have the viral videos giving you an entirely different picture and showing you that, hey, this is way more serious, and we better, and it's important, not to be panicky or anything, but we better do what we can to stop the spread of the virus now, because, it's gonna get exponentially more difficult if we don't stop it as early as possible, right? So it's important to get factual information out, and those viral videos was basically the only factual information that was getting out of China. And of course, what did YouTube do? Well, first, of course, they demonetized every video that mentions the word coronavirus. But of course, that wasn't enough. Then they started punishing those videos in the algorithm. And I can see that from my own videos, you can even pretty clearly see, when they started, oh, this is a drop in the views, you can see in the views, oh, at this point they started with the demonetization, and I don't care about demonetization. I don't monetize my videos anyway, and YouTube demonetized my entire channel. So, but the point is, if a video is demonetized, it doesn't get shown as much. And then they punished it in the algorithm even more, and I can see that as well in the views from the videos that I uploaded. And that still wasn't enough. So then they basically age restricted pretty much every viral video about the coronavirus. Why? I don't know. I mean, there's nothing, there's nothing really. I mean, with some videos, okay, I guess some videos, sure, if you have like a video where the police are just violently rounding up people or something, I can understand if that gets age restricted. But if it's just viral videos showing the extent of the infections, I don't see why you have to be 18 to see that, and actually I would want my kids to see that. I mean I would want my kids to realize, hey, this is, not to be panicky, but you should better take this serious, right? I mean, wouldn't you want your kids to know that? But no, YouTube doesn't want your kids to know that, and of course that's just an excuse anyway. It's just, again, a way for them to contain the spread of misinformation, so to say. Because of course the party calls every factual information misinformation. They live in like this inverted reality, in this like bubble where every day is opposite day. But of course, age restricting still wasn't enough. And of course, it's not just me, If they did it with me, they pretty much did it with everyone who uploaded viral videos like that. And I checked with some of my friends who uploaded the same or similar videos, and the exact same thing happened to them. So it's not like it's just happening with me. They do that with everyone, basically with every viral video on YouTube. So, but even age restricting didn't work. Oh, well, it worked, but YouTube still wasn't satisfied. There were still people watching it. So then, as you can see here, I suddenly started getting copyright claims. And remember, those are viral videos smuggled out of China. And the people who did that, they were taking a great risk. Because as you remember, if you do that in China, you get imprisoned. So the people who made those videos, they certainly weren't copyright striking it, and and if at all, if they would, okay, they would monetize them for themselves, but those copyright strikes, they weren't they weren't for monetization or anything, but it was just to blog the video worldwide, and as you can see, it's very obscure. Is that even a company name? This doesn't look like a company name. So very, very obscure copyright claim from something that doesn't appear to be a company at all. The reason just says Italia. I have no idea what this has to do with Italy, but it's just to blog those viral videos worldwide. And again, it wasn't just me; it was everyone who was uploading viral videos about the coronavirus. And since it was everyone, it created a backlash. So YouTube had to step back, and now you can watch those kind of videos again. They're not blocked anymore. It didn't really work because it created a lot of backlash and a lot of criticism. A lot of people were criticizing YouTube because of that, and then they stopped blocking them again. But it's only when it creates an outcry and when it reflects back, when it reflects badly on YouTube, it's only then that they do anything about it. If you, as an individual, complain to them, they don't listen to you. But anyway, all the other measures are still in place. And as you've probably seen, they also started putting a very visible, very big link to the website of the World Health Organization. In every video that mentions the coronavirus. That again created kind of an outcry. So again, they stepped back and stopped doing that as well again. But it was only when it created a backlash. And actually, I don't think that's a bad idea. The World Health Organization normally would certainly be would be a good website to visit to keep yourself informed about pandemics. if for some weird reason the World Health Organization, they're not really taking it serious. And, of course I get that they want to keep people calm, and they don't want people to panic, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't give them some factual information. That's very important, right? That's kind of what you're supposed to do, especially as the World Health Organization. If there's such a serious pandemic as this, you need to give people the factual information they need to protect themselves. And there is some good information about this from doctors and so on, but not so much actually from the World Health Organization. And you'd think that would actually kind of be the number one thing they should do. But if you look at the website here, you can see they have all kinds of press releases, just not really about the coronavirus. The first press release about the coronavirus was at the end of January, when it was already, at that point, the World Health Organization was basically the last organization to do a press release about it. At that point, everyone the world over has already been reporting on it, has already been reporting it to death. No pun intended. So the World Health Organization was actually pretty much the last organization to report on it. And even when they finally did report on it, you can see the article here. There is no useful information at all. It doesn't tell you what to do to protect yourself. It doesn't tell you anything about the scale or anything. It actually reads like a typical Chinese propaganda article. Or like a propaganda article from the Soviet Union, or from back in the days of Chernobyl. Oh, is no problem. There was a little accident in power plant. Is well under control. Soviet heroes of the motherland have victoriously fought the evil radiation. Is gone now. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. Please remain calm. Everything is under control thanks to our glorious party. Yes. And please remember, if you criticize at all our glorious Google, or criticize our glorious party, you will be severely punished. So do not do that.